Good afternoon. It is Thursday, January 29th. I'm your host here, Dan. Who am I? I'm Dan Edwards, your host with the Seattle Real Estate Team, and I'm here with my fabulous co-host, Tucker Maxwell of Guild Mortgage. Welcome to the episode, the Seattle Real Estate Podcast. That was a really crummy intro. Sorry about that.
How's it going, Dan?
It's going good. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
Did something amazing just happen in Seattle?
Well, I think we are going to a very large football game in a couple of weeks.
I think the football game is the same size. It's just published everywhere, and everybody's excited about its super.
There's a larger prize for this one.
Now, this is for all the marbles, right? Right?
That's right.
Yeah. So it's not like soccer where you have various competitions throughout the year. It's just one big one, right?
That's exactly. It's confusing.
All right, cool. Well, hey, we got a great show for you today. We got a couple of topics we're going to talk, but I also want to bring in Raj, the intern. We got Raj here. Hey, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Tucker. I'm excited to be here.
So Raj is brand new on the Seattle Real Estate Team, and he is helping me in the background. So he's going to help us identify some of our some of the comments that we've had. What we're doing today is we're going to kind of go over some of the most popular questions that buyers are having about the marketplace right now. So, yeah, I'll come to you in a bit, Raj. But first, Tucker, I want to hear from you. What is the big question in financing right now? I think I know what it is, but why don't you share what are you getting a lot of questions about these days?
Yeah, I think the biggest wonder or question that buyers are having is, should I wait? You know, the lower rates are supposedly, or the outlook is that they're on their way. And so should we wait until rates come down?
Should you wait until rates come down? Okay. So what is the main driver behind somebody waiting and somebody going now? I mean, why would somebody even think about waiting?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a couple of factors. One is paying less interest. You know, they might be concerned with just the total interest paid. And so the thought process is, if I wait to buy, I'll pay less in interest. That's probably the biggest one. And then the second one, especially in the greater Seattle area, might be that they can qualify for more home. If I wait, I can buy a more expensive home.
Oh, okay. So what are we talking about from a timing then? Are they talking about waiting till next year? Are they talking about waiting 6 months? What's the
I think that's the $1 million question, and we don't really know. And so it's different for everybody. And that's, I think, kind of the biggest kind of argument to that whole thing is there is no guarantee on when rates are going to come down or by how much. And so we don't really know what that timeline looks like.
Now, just recently, the Fed had a meeting, right? What was the consensus? What came out of that Fed meeting?
Yeah, so the Federal Open Market Committee is 12 members, and they vote to either keep rates the same or lower or raise them. And the consensus was that they felt that they should keep rates the same. And so it was a 10-2 vote. And so simple majority voted to keep the rates right where they're at. Okay,
so why would somebody wait if they're planning on not moving the rate? That's the part that I don't understand. Do the Fed see some things 6 months down the road that would cause them to change and significantly lower interest rates?
Exactly. So the Fed has two main goals. One is to control inflation, or the price of goods, and the second component is jobs. And so they use the rate, the federal funds rate. So this isn't mortgage rate, but they use that rate, like think of a gas pedal and a brake pedal, if you will. So if they lower rates, it makes money less expensive. And the thought there is that they can accelerate the market. They can, juice it up a bit and step on the gas, accelerate it, and give people the opportunity to buy things at a lower price to then create or stimulate the economy. So think of that as a gas pedal. When they raise rates, it's like pressing the gas pedal or the brake pedal, and they're trying to slow it down. So think of last year or a couple of years ago, as we came out of COVID, we had inflation. We had overstimulated the market. We gave people stimulus checks. We lowered rates at record rates, and they said, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Inflation is on the rise. Let's raise rates to slow things down." Now we're on the other side of that. And last year they started to bring rates down because they said, okay, inflation's under control now, but now we need to be concerned with jobs. So let's lower rates to maybe incentivize employers to hire.
And so what we're going to, oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, what they're saying right now is we're at what we want. We're at around a 2% inflation rate. Unemployment's at 4.4%. So we don't need to speed it up or slow it down. We want to keep it kind of right where it is.
Gotcha. And I can tell you, we have mixed reports now from the market that we are seeing 14 offers come in on certain homes, and we're seeing some homes. And here's a good rule of thumb: as you look at Seattle and you take like a median line from the east to across the east side through Bellevue out to Issaquah, and just follow I-90. But what you're going to find is the closer to that line, the more competition you're going to have for a home. So as a buyer considering, okay, are we seeing a lot of competition on that median line right there that goes from Seattle out to North Bend? That's where you're going to see more competition. And as you head north or south, that may change. And I would say there's a little bit of a caveat there because, if you, to my friends in Renton, the school districts in Issaquah, Issaquah and Bellevue and Lake Washington are the top 3 in the nation. So in the top 3 in Washington State and tops in the nation. So essentially it's more heading north, meaning that people want to stay in those good school districts. So just be aware. And my understanding is, since they're all gas pedal and no brake at this point, right? That's what you're telling me the Fed is going to be doing, if they're doing anything. Like they're just kind of right now, they've got their foot on the gas pedal, just kind of cruising at 60 miles an hour. Do you see them switching to brake in the next 2 years?
No. We anticipate that they will hit the gas pedal, at some point. That's what the pressure is on them, to hit the gas pedal and bring rates down and give people money at a lower rate. But we're not expecting that cut until June. And so once we start to see the probability of that cut increase, we'll probably see mortgage rates come down well ahead of that cut. And that's what we really want to caution people on, is if you're waiting for the Fed's decision, it's probably too late. Like, we will get ahead of that and start pricing that in well ahead once we start to see that the probability is really high. So we do anticipate that they'll cut by 0.25% in June, which should give us a little bit of relief on rates. It's not going to, majorly move things. But to your point, that little bit of interest rate relief is going to then spur even more activity.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair assessment, that if it's only going to be gas pedal, if that's all that we're going to see in the future, then rates will get better, which that means more people will enter the marketplace. More people enter a marketplace, more competition, you're going to pay more. Appreciation on that house is going to outpace that gas pedal reduction. But here's the good news. Now you have the house you love, and you can always refinance it.
Exactly.
So if we hit those rates going down.
And that, you hit it on the head. And that's the greatest thing, like, about buying now, is you're locking in on a 30-year fixed rate mortgage to the highest rate you'll ever have. And then you get to control when you refinance it down. And so that's what I like to share with people. And Dan, do you know what the average interest rate is over the last 50 years in the United States is?
No, I don't.
7.7%. So we're well below 1.5% lower than that today. So we're historically, we're at a better rate than we've seen on average today.
Yeah. And it's my belief that the way we get into this affordability scenario is higher incomes, median income, and more building. I don't think rates do enough to make a big enough impact. I don't believe a 30, 40, 50, 90-year mortgage is the answer. It's quite simply, wages are going to need to increase, come up to the inflation that we went through after COVID, and keep going, because I want to say the last time we were on the gold standard is when incomes were keeping pace with expenses. Now we're at a spot where we really need incomes to come up. And that's that's the way I see the way out. I don't see home prices crashing and creating a glut of inventory. I certainly see there will be some more, but not a whole lot. So I don't know if we put this to bed, because some people will wait no matter what. But those are the same people that got into Bitcoin when it was at right? They got in there going, it's going to the moon now. So yeah,
Yeah.
it might have been me. I might have bought some Bitcoin then. So
Yeah, we're all in there. And Dan, to support that, I have a stat from Matthew Gardner, a local economist that a lot of people know, and he said that there's been a 51% increase in mortgage payment from Q2 of 2020 to Q3 of 2025, and incomes haven't had that same increase.
No, and that's just what we got to do. And in order to do that, we keep the job market low, or the unemployment low, and but when we just have a couple rounds of layoffs, like UPS laid off some people, Amazon laid off some people. So we're going through emotion. Hey, real quick, I want to pause. Can somebody check and see, do we have audio on Instagram? We're just going to check because we're testing out this technology.
Hey, real quick, I want to pause.
Oh, there it is. Okay, we got audio. So that must mean we have some questions. Our topic today is on the move up, and I asked Raj, the intern, I'm going to bring him on screen here. Hey, we are talking move up buyers. So what are some of the common questions that have been fired at us about that? And I think, Tucker might have some thoughts on this as well.
Okay, some questions we have here is, do we need to sell our current home before buying a new one?
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Do I need to sell? And to answer that, great job, by the way, Raj, on asking that question. That was great. Here's the thing is, I know that if we're talking about the heat of the market, selling the house first may be the best thing to do because it gives you the best possible leverage, but it's not the only thing you have to do. So Tucker, what options from financing standpoint does somebody who own a home have to go out, buy their future home without selling it?
Yeah, so a couple of factors. One is, do they have down payment funds outside of the equity in that home they're going to depart, and can they, pull funds from elsewhere to get into that next home? So that's probably question number one. Then the second component is, can they qualify carrying their current mortgage payment and the new mortgage payment, and be able to carry those within their ratios. So those are the kind of the major factors, but there's a lot of unique products out there that allow them to bridge the equity, tap into that equity today to put down on the new home. And there's even some ways that if they can't carry the payments, that we can omit their departing resident mortgage and buy their new one, knowing that they're going to list their departing residence shortly thereafter. So a lot of solutions, but a pre-approval is definitely important there to determine what their options are, because I would agree, getting out of the home and giving you full access to it to ready the home is going to lead to the highest sales price.
Yeah, let me break it down kind of logistically wise. Is like if I have the capacity to get my home ready to sell, then I sell it, then I'm homeless, right? What's my fallback position? How many months am I going to need to rent, or do I do Airbnb? In some cases, and this has happened in hotter markets, is we negotiate a rent back of 6 months or less. And that puts you in the driver's seat because now you got cash in hand. Now, let's just say you just don't feel comfortable doing that because you're kind of, you're risk adverse, right? You don't want to be homeless. The option of going with a lending solution is great, and it costs you a little bit of money, right? So in that sense, you don't need to break it down, Tucker, but is there a general idea how much more of a premium this is? Is it a matter of actually paying two mortgages? What does that look like?
It's really carrying the mortgage. Of course, if you had to tap into the equity on a bridge loan, there's going to be interest on those loan funds that you're pulling forward. But I think if people have the funds and they can get in with, like, say, a 5% down payment, then it's just the cost of carrying both those payments and the larger mortgage until they sell, and then they can utilize a recast to pull those proceeds forward, pay down their mortgage, and it's as if they sold first.
Okay, now let's try a different scenario. This one I actually like. Let's say that you're like, we're going to buy a home and then sell our home. And let's say you sit down with Tucker and you guys do the bridge loan program or something, similar that puts you in that position. And then you identify the home and you buy it. Now, here's the thing is the clock, as far as money is concerned, doesn't start ticking until you close the purchase. So let's say you're 100% approved on on owning the two homes at the same time. You go out, you find your dream home, and we are pending inspection. Okay, great. So now we inspect the property. From pending inspection to close is anywhere from 20 to 30 days. So 20 to 30 days. Now, if we go at this the right way, we go shopping for your home while your home is list ready. It's just ready to go. We're ready to drop photos, or let's just say we already got it done. We got photos taken, and now you're just kind of shopping. You find your dream home. Okay. Once you passed inspection, then it's go time for listing. And that way you list the home, and, maybe it takes a week, maybe it takes 2 weeks before you get in contract. And then it's really a matter of coming down to timing for the close. So you could actually not have to purchase before you buy in this instance, because you can make the timing line up. So it obviously requires a lot of skill and communication with all parties involved. But the overall reality is, if there's a possibility you can get it to where you're not owning the two homes and you don't ever utilize that loan. Are you okay with borrowers doing that with you, Tucker?
Yeah, as long as they can carry the payments, through the pre-approval process, we're fine. The other cool thing is their first payment is like waits a month. So in that
That's right.
instance, you time this all perfectly, and that first payment isn't even going to be due until they get the proceeds and they're in the new home.
Yeah, and then they just take the balance of the money and put it against the loan, and then they're good to go.
Exactly.
Okay, we covered a lot of stuff. Raj, you got any other questions on that?
Can we use equity from our current home to finance our second home?
There we go. Tucker?
Boom. Bridge loan. Absolutely. There's multiple ways to pull that forward. Home equity lines of credit or a bridge loan. Absolutely.
Hey, do you guys do home equity lines?
We do. Yeah, we have variable and fixed rate options.
Okay. So I always recommend borrowers that have equity have one of those just hanging out as an emergency fund. Does it cost money to have those loans? Home equity line?
It depends on, they're usually offered through a credit union or something like that. So sometimes they'll have a service fee, like your credit card, an annual service fee. But no, a lot of them, you carry a zero balance, you're not paying interest, and it just stays there until you're ready to use it.
All right, cool. What else you got, Raj?
How do interest rates affect buying another home?
Yeah, qualification. So ratio. We're looking at the ratio between income and their debts. And so as interest rates rise, those payments can be higher. And so it can be more difficult for a borrower, especially in these scenarios we're talking about, to carry multiple payments, especially if they have a large mortgage already and they want to buy an even larger house now going forward. It can just be a lot to carry when interest rates are higher.
Okay, anything else, Raj?
How important is the school district commute and the nearby amenities in a new neighborhood?
Who could answer that? No, just kidding. 100%. School district, like I mentioned earlier in the show, is essentially whether you have kids or not, it's a big driver. What was the other one, Raj?
The commute and the nearby amenities.
Yeah, I think here's the way to look at it is, when you're shopping for a home, it's a process of elimination. It is not, I'd love to say it's a choice, but it's more of a process of elimination, because unless you have unlimited funds, and I think that's an important case. If you have unlimited funds, then you can live wherever you want, whenever you want. But typically, one of the two things is going to change. So let me put it frank, is if you have a budget of, let's just say, $1.5 million, that's your budget, and you want a commute that is 10 minutes. Well, that is going to put you on the east side. That's going to put you maybe Sammamish, but for a 10-minute commute, it's going to be hard. It's going to push you into a condo, most likely, if you want that short of a commute. So then you have to decide, okay? Now, if you're deciding, well, the most important place is not the commute, but where I go home at the end of the day, and you have children, so you're looking at schools, then you're going to prioritize the school district, and then your $1.5 million goes a little different. So it's kind of like a shell game of moving things around. So do we have any other questions, Raj? Oh, were you going to add something, Tucker?
I was just going to ask you, Dan. So based on what you were saying there, it's really important to not only think about the home you're buying when you're buying it, but when you go to sell it too, because these are going to be the same factors that are going to bring buyers to your house. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Easy in, easy out.
Yep.
How competitive is the market for larger homes?
By larger homes, you mean square footage?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's there's like a law of diminishing returns where it becomes a luxury home. That I would say that square footage probably diminishes right about 4,500 square feet. Yeah, on the other side, it doesn't really necessarily because that's usually a location. But if you're let's say a family of five, you want to have a living room, family room, bonus room, and three bedrooms, three plus maybe four. And I don't think you can fit that into. Yeah, you can fit it into some smaller square footage, but then when you get to 4,500 square feet, 6,000 square feet, that's a luxury house. But I would say to answer that question, it really depends. So, okay, finally, now we need to know, what are you going to do this weekend since you don't have to watch football this weekend? What are you up to, Tucker?
Well, I have an older brother's birthday party, and we also have back-to-back weeks of UFC fights. And UFC fights are now back on Paramount Plus, so that's a cool thing.
Oh, don't get me started on these streaming services. I just
Yeah.
cannot get a handle on it. But it seems like everything's on Paramount Plus, like everything.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about pay-per-view anymore. All the UFC fights are live on Paramount.
Oh, now if I want to see fighting, I just go to Family Reunion. So there's that. Just kidding. Raj, what are you up to this weekend?
Probably the same thing as Tucker, watching some UFC with friends, and then going to a birthday party as well. So I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate having you and, making sure we had good questions for the podcast. If you know of anybody looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, there's my phone number down at the bottom, 425-276-7008. I can connect you with Tucker. Tucker, what's your best way to get a hold of you as well?
Same way, 425-757-9202.
I should put that in the thing so it scrolls down at the bottom there.
That's right. Call Dan.
Yeah, call me. I'll connect you to Tucker. All right. Well, have a wonderful evening or afternoon. Thanks for coming in, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Dan.